Welcome to the Literally First Class podcast, where I will teach you how to overcome anxiety and achieve somatic success. I'm your host, Keri Ford. I'm a somatic success and holistic life coach here to bring humor, insight, and wisdom to the modern day woman that wants to feel alive in her daily life. You ready? Come on, I saved you a seat in first class. Talk about something I probably don't talk about enough, which is hard work. I think oftentimes when we see somebody who we think stands for one thing, we assume that they don't also in fact stand for another thing that might be seemingly opposing. So for example, I stand for creating more peace in your life and more calm and less chronic stress. But that doesn't mean stress is the thing that we need to solve for all the time. It doesn't mean that stress is not going to continue to be an integral part of your life. In fact, stress is healthy because it builds resilience in the body for how it responds to healthy levels of stress. And so just because I'm about the energy and the somatics of more peace and less stress does not mean that we need to eradicate stress or hard work. Right? The emotional work is a different kind of hard, if we're being honest. I post a lot about slowing down, a lot about nervous system regulation, but that's only part of the equation. The other part is the hard work, right? We don't just meditate on a mountain and magnetize money to you. We don't just stare at our yoni in a mirror for 8 hours and crawl around in a white dress in the nearest river or body of water. We don't just, charge our worth, but we don't have the skills and results and training and experience to back it up. We don't let go of the vision and hope and pray that the team we haven't trained shows up and does it for us. There are real, tangible things that we have to do, right? Action steps required, strategy, execution, vision, focus, intention, perseverance. So, are energetics and emotional clearing part of the equation? Yes, but only part. Hard work is the other part. Doing things that you don't want to do. Failing. All important parts to initiation and growth. Creating deeper resiliency and self-trust. Failing forward. Absolutely. In college, I went through a program that was really, really intense. And the first year, it was a foundational year. The first year, they want you to focus on foundations. So while everybody else was doing what they were told to do, I decided, in addition to my current workload, I was going to sit in on the grade year above me, all of their classes, because I needed to apply to get into that program. And I think somewhere around 100 people applied every year after their foundational first year. So after that foundational first year, out of 100, you better believe I'm going to be sitting in on all of those classes. Why? Because I want to know what I'm preparing for. I want to know what that workload looks like. And I want the professors to know my face when they are making decisions because of how I choose to show up, how I choose to lean in times of stress or adversity. So I did all of my current workload and I showed up for all of their workload too. Now the second year, once you make that initial cut, 100 people apply, only like half make it. I was in that. I made the cutoff for that. Now going from second to third year, now we have about 50 people, 40 to 50 people now in this program. They have to apply again. And then it gets cut in half again. You're talking going from your second to third year in college, nearly halfway through college, well, you are halfway through, basically risking that, hey, you know what? I might have to change schools if I want to do this, or I might have to change majors. And that was not a reality I was available for. So after I sat in on everything and I got into the initial cutoff of the program, I was in the half. And then from second to third year, that half, those 40 people get cut in half again, and 23 are accepted into the final year. So out of the 23, Then you choose your concentration, the emphasis of the degree. So there were 4 options. And now I have a bachelor in fine arts, but I studied visual communications with an emphasis on advertising design. So that was the emphasis I chose, but there was also applied photography, there was illustration, and there was graphic design, and then there was advertising design. I chose advertising because I really loved the conceptual marketing behind all of that. Although this entire program, you could argue, was extremely conceptual anyway. I was 1 out of 4 out of 5,300 students in my graduating class to come out with this particular degree and emphasis on that concentration. So, hard work? Yes. Things do require hard work. So, what I decided in that moment was that there is no other reality that I'm available for. I got very focused, and to decide means to cut away all other options, right? So I just decided what I wanted and I went the fuck after it. Sometimes that's what it requires. And this was before understanding energetics and belief systems and attachment theory and somatic therapy. I understood hard work. But bringing the worlds of somatics and success together, that's a different kind of hard, right? But it did elevate me into new levels of success in a way that allowed me to do and create and be different. I still worked hard, but I learned grace and I learned surrender, right? Hard work is still always there. What I didn't do anymore, though, was pull all-nighters and take on too much, more than I can chew, and overcommit and people please and drive from anxiety. Those things I don't do anymore. And that's the difference between who I am today and the woman that made the decision to do all the course loads. Did it work? Yes. Was I committed? Yes. And maybe if I had to do it all over again, I still would do the same thing. I probably would, but I would be very mindful of my energy and where I was doing it from. Because it's all hard. It's all fucking uncomfortable. All of it, right? But if you're like me, you signed up for unrealistic success, which means that you have to do unrealistic things. So this is not about when you do the somatic work and the healing and the softness and the surrender and having the healing spaces where you can be with what is. It does not get us off the hook from doing hard work. We've got to do that too. We have to take aligned action, not just busy action. Right? Because action without purpose, I always say this, action without purpose is just busyness. You're just playing entrepreneur. You're just playing executive. No boundaries, totally out of integrity with your calendar, no balance, probably super successful in business and in life, but not in life, right? Probably making a lot of money, but no one to share it with. That's not success. Not in my book, not in my world, not in the world that the women who sign up with me want to be part of. They want holistic success. They want the 360 picture. They want it all. They want to feel healthy and confident and strong. They want great sex and good intimacy and deep connection and to be held by their partner. They want the money. They want the success. They want it to be aligned and purposeful. They want all of those things. So we have to first identify, is there an overcompensation going on? Are we overcompensating in one area? And then we've got to recalibrate and redefine. What's missing here? Where's the gap? Otherwise, anxiety, that'll continue to control you. Or you will feel very imbalanced or misaligned. But in seeking the alignment, we can't forget about the hard work too. Can't forget about the dedication and the commitment to integrity. Discipline is love. Who is it that says that? Jocko something. But it's true. Still requires us to do the hard things. It would be like me imagining that I just want to be fit and strong, but never go to the gym. Doesn't make sense. You've got to also put in the work. So maybe I don't say it enough, but the somatic work and the softness and the slowing down, yes, yes. So healing, so beautiful, so needed, especially in today's modern day world. and for the modern day woman that thinks she needs to do it all well. But also, there has to be hard work. There has to be a willingness to be uncomfortable. It's all hard. So we have to be willing to do the hard things. And sometimes the somatic part is the hardest because we're going to the ethers of the corners that we never wanted to go back to. Or it feels hard to undo a pattern that has run us for so long unconsciously on automation. I get that. Once we have that energetic information, once we have that awareness, we've got to do something with it. Otherwise, it's just awareness. And then it's conscious suffering. We're doing nothing with it. To purpose it, to alchemize it, to transform it. In fact, this is the only place that transformation can exist, in this discomfort. I saw this story on Instagram a week or two ago from my friend Nikki. And it was a story that she had reshared, and I can't remember the original author. And I love giving credit, but no, this is not my story, but I needed to share this. And he talks about lobsters and how they have a soft body and a hard shell. And we know that, right? But here's how they grow. Soft body grows to expand and fill the shell until it is very uncomfortable. And then the lobster has to back away into the rocks, and it has to break off this shell, get rid of this old shell, and it has to build a new one, a bigger one, that the soft body can now yet again expand into. So it comes back out in the world with its new, beautiful big shell. And then the soft body grows to fill the space between it, the gap, right, and the shell. And once again, it needs to go away, it needs to hide, it needs to cocoon, break off the shell, rebuild a new one that's bigger, that it will expand into. But the one thing that remains constant throughout all of this is that the lobster grows under stress and discomfort. In fact, that's the only place that the lobster feels compelled to go hide away in a season of shedding, to remove the shell that's too tight and too small and no longer fits, and to rebuild a new one that it can grow into, to go back into the world. What it doesn't do is say, I'm not ready for this shell yet. It's too big. I'm not there yet. It's inevitable, but it needs stress to help transform. Stress is the trigger, and that's healthy stress. The discomfort of this is too tight. I need a bigger shell. Right? So growth is hard. We get to choose our hard. So hopefully this lands for you. Whatever you're hearing, I would be curious. But I think that it's important to say. It's important to say, especially because I do stand for so much softness and so much slowness and so much stillness, so much surrender, and all of these beautiful healing things that I didn't know. I didn't know peace. I didn't know surrender years and years ago. And I know those now. But I also know success. And I know big money. And I know big moves. And I know bold action. And it's really both. And that's why I created Somatic Success. That is the embodiment of both. So I hope this episode finds you well. And if you're getting any value from this, please share this episode. Make sure you subscribe. And I will see you on the next episode.
I hope you enjoyed your flight, and I'll see you on board again soon.
Seriously though, thanks for listening. If you're ready to take this work deeper and upgrade your mind, I want to invite you to join us inside my Millionaire Mindset program. This is where you'll start using my guided meditations to help you overcome anxiety and experience even more abundance. When you join, you'll have access to my entire audio library. Head over to elevatewithkeri.com and we'll see you inside.